Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Hyrek, Account Development Manager here at VoIP Supply, and welcome to another episode of SIP Chats. Today, we're excited to have from Mobotix, Vin Imbesi, and our very own IP camera specialist from VoIP Supply, Tom Uhteg. How's it going, everyone?
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
Good.
Very good. Very good.
Awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day and joining an episode of SIP Chats. So Vin, I understand that Mobotix has a myriad of offerings, and really you've been super prevalent with COVID and the return to office with your offerings and some of the features that your products have as well. Would you mind giving an introduction and a brief, a brief scope of how Mobotix is participating in that?
Sure. So, I'm from a camera manufacturer. I get involved in all different kinds of applications, right? Some pretty cool stuff. We're seeing a trend moving towards office environments, return back to work environments, back to work scenarios, where people are looking at their facilities and they're trying to figure out how to really prepare for the return of their full workforce. And so what people are realizing is that cameras and technology have come a long way in the last 5 years, but even more specifically in the last year. And manufacturers and analytics companies have sat back and they've tried to tailor their products specifically to help in this environment. And so we have a lot more to offer now in terms of what people think cameras can and can't do. And Mobotix, for those of you who may not be aware, we've been around a long time, and we've kind of made our name on being more than just a camera. So our devices, there's a lot of triggers that they can do, a lot of actions. They can be a very functional part of your workplace, very functional part of your building, as opposed to just a dummy camera. And so, what we're seeing and what we're getting involved in a lot of times are people asking us, hey, I do want video security. I want to upgrade our old camera system. I want better imaging, but also I want to do X, Y, and Z. How can you help me ensure people are wearing masks? Right now, that's very regional at this point, but ensure people are wearing masks or take their temperature. Or we want to make sure that we're doing people counting because we only want a certain amount of employees in the building at one time. Our products actually, some of our cameras have the ability to do these things on the camera systems themselves. And what that means, Brian, it's basically a very easy way to deploy it, right? You're simply buying a license. You're not buying an extra server or an extra recorder. You're going to buy 8 cameras for your facility and the front lobby camera, if that's the camera that you want to count for people or ensure for social distancing, then you're just going to trigger the analytic in that camera. And now that camera, of course, is providing you with providing you with video coverage, but it's also doing the activities you want that device to do.
That's really awesome. And to my understanding, too, is that, you can view those analytics anywhere. You don't have to be on location. And an actual NVR now, a physical NVR, is no longer required. Is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, it's Mobotix doesn't get the credit it deserves for being as innovative as it does, because we're not as visible as a lot of the larger manufacturers, but we've since '99, 21 years now or 22 years now, we have always been developed with the idea that the camera would be its own NVR, and so we have essentially our cameras are self-contained camera systems. Now, if you put those together, you still have what a user would interpret as a camera system, but in terms of architecture, there's no server in a closet. There's no NVR hidden that someone can steal or something can fail. And the benefit to that is there's no single point of failure. And so our reputation has been built upon producing these cameras out of Germany that last a decade, that run 24/7, and we distribute the system, the distributed architecture, so there's no single point of failure or ways to take down the system with a single stroke. So it's cool stuff.
Incredible. That's incredible.
Very cool. And so I also know, Vin, that recently Mobotix has released a new cloud offering that we believe can be more beneficial as opposed to just your standard NVR software that people would traditionally use that might leave you a little bit strapped to a certain brand or what have you. Can you elaborate a little bit on the benefits of Mobotix Cloud?
Yeah, so it's kind of in the same vein that we were just talking about, right? Where people tend to want simplicity, and they don't want the closet full of IT gear. They want to keep that to a minimum now. Less equipment means less headaches, less maintenance, that sort of thing. And so the cloud is kind of the next iteration of that. So locally we have the ability, as I said, to run camera systems on the camera. We also now, as Tom alluded to, we have the cloud platform, which basically means there's still no on-site server, but you're sending that footage to the cloud for storage, long-time storage, which means that footage is very securely stored. It's redundant. It's backed up repeatedly, and you're ensuring that you're not going to lose that video footage. You're not worried about your NVR exploding, which has been the problem, exploding, failing, people stealing it, that sort of thing. So it's really the way the market is going. You've seen this with Nest cameras, residential cameras are all doing the same thing, right? I am in the industry, and I know that I'm not running wires in my house, right? I'm going with simplicity. I'm putting cameras up, and I'm sending it to the cloud. That's really the way that a lot of the professional industries are going as well, at least on a smaller scale, is that they're sending this footage to the cloud because it's simpler, it's easier to maintain, and they can access it everywhere and more easily than they might otherwise do with a traditional on-site server, right? Because you can just do it with any browser. We don't need software to be able to access the video because it's on the cloud. So any URL on a phone, tablet, or laptop, Mac, Windows, doesn't matter. Anything that can access a URL can pull up one or multiple cameras and just view that video feed coming in.
Wow.
So it's an easier way
awesome.
it's an easier way to manage all that.
Way more simplistic. And now, is that OMVIF compliance as well in case they have some existing cameras or anything else they want to add to your network?
Yeah, it's a completely open OMVIF platform where you don't have to use all Mobotix cameras. You can have third-party cameras and then kind of mix and mingle them together.
That's really awesome. What verticals, I guess, are you seeing participation in? Or I imagine it's actually quite broad.
As I said, we're a camera manufacturer. I get into some pretty intense things. I mean, we're really popular in government facilities. We're really popular in industrial because then again, we produce these cameras out of Germany that last a decade. And so environments that we do well in are the harsher environments, or in places that just want a better return on investment. Because in a world where cameras really are kind of built to be replaced every couple of years, we're kind of old school in that regard, to where we're providing a camera that has been proven. We have a lot of data on this. We have a well-documented 8 to 9 year lifespan on our products, and so that's kind of where we fit. It's not so much vertical driven as it is wherever people really need to embrace the technology that's going to last a while.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Now I understand, Vin, pretty much across the board on most of your cameras as well, say someone had a camera that had a certain lens or module, as Mobotix calls them, and they had a certain field of view, but they wanted to change that field of view. Is it pretty easy to swap out different modules and change your field of view so you can widen or narrow to get longer distances?
Yeah. So some of our cameras, the lenses are built in, but a lot of them are not. And so I'll borrow. I can point to the one behind me or the one next to me, right? So here's kind of one of our cameras, right? This is an outdoor camera. Don't freak out. This is not going to go inside your lobby usually. So this is an outdoor camera, and these eyeballs are totally replaceable. They just look like this. And so kind of a cool feature to this is, number one, if you want to change the field of view, right? Let's say that this is too narrow or not showing what you want to see, you could just replace it with this, right? But it also means if for some reason this got vandalized, if this got damaged at all, if this failed, you're not pulling the whole camera down and replacing it. You're just popping this out and replacing it with a new sensor, and then you're still up and running.
That's awesome.
So we have a couple different cameras that have essentially these sorts of features, which the modularity of our form factor makes it pretty unique.
For sure. I bet you that total cost of ownership too then comes way down, and kind of future-proofs you for different scenarios, different camera angles, different distances, or like you said, if there is damage to the lens, you don't have to replace the whole camera. That's right. Really awesome.
That's really, again, it's really what we're known for. I get involved in stories all the time. We're always talking about 10-year-old cameras, and genuinely. Right. And we actually just released a patch for a camera that's, I think, from 2013 or something like that, something crazy. Because we know there are still cameras out there running. And the majority of that is because in our products, there's no moving parts. So we took out all the components that commonly fail. So there's no fan, there's no heater blower, there's nothing in there that's moving. And so because we take out those components, the cameras run for a long, long time.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that too. I've been with VoIP Supplies going on 14 years now. And for as long as I can remember, we've been selling Mobotix cameras, and they really don't come back. Once they're in the field, they're in the field. and
Yeah.
that's really awesome. I think that's something you guys can really hang your hat on.
Yeah, and the other really relevant fact is that we're a camera, but we're, as I said, as I kind of alluded to earlier, we're so much more than a camera. We're very much an IT device. We're an IoT endpoint, right? That happens to do video security. And so here's just one of our wall cameras, right? We have kind of unique body styles, right? So this is our wall camera. And it's a camera, right? It does exactly what you would think. It's going to provide you video so you can see live and archive video. But it also has a built-in speaker, right? It also has a built-in microphone. So that means, yes, you can record audio, but also you can have two-way communications with this because it has that capability. So basically, anywhere you add a Mobotix camera, you're adding a point of communication to your existing communication systems internally because it's SIP compliant. And so everywhere you put a camera, you now have a place where you can have an intercom or emergency communication system, or just a casual way to kind of check and see what's going on in a certain area. The cameras can do some, as I said, some triggers and decisions where the camera can make decisions based on what it sees or detects on its own, again, without a recorder. There's no central piece of hardware. And so a lot of times the example I use is that you put this in a lobby. Now, a lot of times, especially now, people walk into lobbies that are empty, right? There's usually a desk that a receptionist used to be at, but that receptionist is no longer at. And so you put this up and you tell the camera, okay, camera, when you see somebody, play a message. All right, so I walk in and it sees me and it says, hi, welcome to VoIP Supply. We'll be right with you. It then, because again, it's on your communication system, places an outbound call to Tom, right, who's in the building as well, right? It opens up that communication. Tom picks up the phone. Hi, welcome to VoIP Supply. We'll be right with you, and hangs up. So with a camera that's doing everything you would expect a camera to do, you basically also have a virtual attendant. And these are sort of this is kind of the fun applications that we can kind of get into with Mobotix that you really can't do with any other camera, quote unquote camera. Right? We do the camera part really well, but we do all this other stuff too.
And I understand that all of your devices also support SIP.
Yes. Yep, fully SIP compliant.
So that's perfect for our customer base. Is SIP is what VoIP Supply does. So it's great to see how your cameras can actually interact with our world as well. Yeah,
if you simply hang a camera up and you tie a dry contact to it, put a button on the wall. Someone hits the button tells the camera, dial this number, and that number is security. It opens up two-way communication. You've turned the camera into an emergency communication system. People are doing that all the time in kind of remote areas of their facility. It doesn't cost anything. It's just an extra part of the camera. It's part of the feature sets that we bring. So we get into some pretty neat and fun applications over here.
Absolutely. And do you have a, I guess, to leave, do you guys have a business case or a story that you would like to tell about maybe through COVID or coming back to the office, one of the applications that Mobotix has been used, either with your cloud or your actual devices?
People are shaky with references. I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom. I'll field this first, I guess. I didn't want to speak over you. We tend to struggle a bit with references, right? So we talk about reference cases. People are putting us in, but they don't necessarily want to use us. You want to go out and vocally say what they're doing. But what we're seeing is a trend. Let's say with some major sports labels, they're starting to tie in access control with cameras, with video feeds. So it's always been a trend. Now it's kind of increasing as people are coming back, where they'll put a camera up and they're trying to get away from cards and contact access control to keep contacts down, to keep touch points down. And so facial recognition as an access control point to get into the building or simply to get past a checkpoint within the building is definitely something we're getting more and more involved in. As of even this week, I'm working on a project. So that's something that we're seeing used quite commonly, more so now than before the pandemic.
It's an awesome trend. It's very cool. Yeah. Tom, I think you had something you wanted to add as well?
No, I'm okay at this point. I think we got a bunch of good questions in there, good basic overview of Mobotix and the capabilities.
Well, Vin, did you have anything you wanted to send to our audience, anything that you really want them to check out with Mobotix?
Our homepage has a lot of information. You can check out case studies, you can check out brochures. YouTube, we have our own YouTube channel. It's very, very easy to find content on our products. And also the VoIP supply team is very knowledgeable. They've been using our products for a long, long time. I'm here backing them up. We are always here to kind of spitball and engineer and find ways for these cameras to do what you didn't think they could previously do.
Awesome. Vin, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to sit and have a sip chat with us. I know you're a busy man. And a reminder to everyone as well, we're always happy to have one-on-ones. You can get myself or Tom, and we can get Vin on the line, discuss your project and your application. We'd love to help you from start to finish, or maybe you have an abstract idea and you're not quite sure how it would work. We will find a solution for you, and we can get it done with Mobotix Cloud or their hardware devices and their hardware devices together. As a reminder too, if you like this video and you'd like to see more of these coming, please hit like below and hit that subscribe button also. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Sip Chats.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Somewhere down here.